All right, so I have a special guest for the show today, Murph. Welcome to Only a Giant. He is a member of the Clapback Sports team. So, welcome, Murph.
What's going on, my man Mikey? It's
How we
been a
doing?
while since we gotten together.
Yeah, it has.
Bring that Cuse connection back a little bit.
Yep. There's a couple of good Cuse guys in this draft too, by the way.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll talk about at some point. Maybe not
Trill
this episode, but
Williams.
yeah, Trill. I think Melifonwu, I think
Yep.
was his name. Uh, Andre Cisco, a safety, which we don't really need, but
The we continue to breed those pros up there, but we can't breed any wins. So I guess I'll take what we can get,
we
right?
just got we just got that quarterback transfer
Yep.
that might be someone to compete with DeVito. We'll see what
Let's
happens.
hope, man.
Yeah,
Because Cuse football's back in the shitter again.
I'll still support him. I love Q's football, and I'll always be going to the games when I can.
Me too, but I think we're gonna talk about our other love of our life today here on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, yep. So I guess let's start. I wanted to talk about the 2016 draft. I want to talk about the 2017 draft. I think it's a good way to look back and see kind of why we're in the position that we're in right now. We have no depth. We have some talent, but we need a lot of work still. Um, I wanted to let's look at the last 5 years of our first and second round picks. And I'm assuming you know who they are, but Andrew Thomas this year, Daniel Jones, Dexter Lawrence, DeAndre Baker, Saquon, and then you get into like Evan Ingram and Eli Apple. That's our last 5 years of first round picks. But then you look at our second round picks, and you got Xavier McKinney, which I would consider a good pick. Uh, Last year or the year prior, sorry, we didn't have a second round pick because we traded up. But then you look at Will Hernandez, Dalvin Tomlinson, Sterling Shepard. Some of these are like good pieces for the future, but we didn't hit on all of them. Side note, something I wasn't really thinking about talking about, but what's going on with Will Hernandez?
I don't know, man. It was almost like COVID played a factor in that in a positive way.
Yeah,
Personally, I'm not the biggest Big Will fan. I like Will. I like his tendencies. I like his mean streak that he gives in the running game. But I've always kind of felt like it's no coincidence that any left tackle that plays to the left side of Hernandez shits the bed. And I'm not an offensive line guru, so I can't tell you why that
right.
is. But it's almost like the minute we took him out, the O line kind of started
Jalen.
moving. Now, I will say Lemieux didn't really grade out very well as a lineman, but he's a rookie. He's going to have his tough days. But like honestly, we're talking about cuts a lot here lately. I would not be shocked if Hernandez is on the cutting block.
Hmm.
He offers a little bit of savings for us. Now, the flip side of that is like the Giants. This is the first time in how many years we haven't had any O line injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Like as many headaches as we had on the O line this year, we were actually very healthy, and we're normally not healthy on the offensive line. So I'm not really in the business of cutting offensive linemen. So Hernandez, I don't know what his deal is, man. Is he a trade candidate? Is he a cut casualty? Is he part of the future of this line? Then there's the whole decision on KZ on the right side. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of limbo with this offensive line right now, and it starts with Will Hernandez and the decision to be made on Kevin Zeitler.
I kind of wonder if they know what they have in Will Hernandez, and they wanted to see what they had in Lemieux, and maybe they just wanted to give Lemieux some time, give him some burn, and see if he's part of the future, and then roll into next year with Will Hernandez at left and maybe Lemieux at right or something. I don't know. It's a very, very weird situation. If we
I'm
did,
a
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm a big proponent of not letting Kevin Zeitler go.
Are you okay?
Um, he's our most consistent piece of the O line. I mean, I know Nick Gates played out of his mind last year, but Kevin Zeitler's our vet. We traded for him. I know he's a big cap hit, and I would like to see them actually extend him so we can push some of his money down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First of all, we need the savings and we need the consistency on the line. Yeah, it's great having Lemieux and Hernandez, but just like you and I both know, we're not professionals, but we both know that they might not be the keys to
Yeah.
those positions right there. And also KZ provide a little veteran presence for the rest of them guys. You know, we're going to lose Fleming. Fleming's gone.
Yeah.
We have a very, very young O-line. No idea what's going to happen at the right tackle spot. My partner on Clapback Sports, Mage, thinks that the Jonathan Harrison signing is actually going to play a role in the competition on the line. You know, we could see Nick Gates bounce back out to right tackle this year. I think there's a lot of, you know, Joe Judge loves to preach cross training. So I think there's a lot of movement that could be made on this line. But I'm just a huge proponent of not letting any of these guys go. We need that depth. We need the consistency there. And the elephant in the room is really Nate Solder. And I think what a lot of fans don't realize is Nate Solder is a direct correlation of Jerry Reese completely ignoring the O-line for years. We had to go sign the best offensive lineman on the market. Here we are in 2020. COVID happened. Nate sat out. We can't get out of this deal, man. We owe Nate all the money. So what's the point of getting rid of the man? Literally the only benefit for us right now is we would need Nate to take a restructure similar to what Drew Brees took with the Saints if he's going to retire. If not, we owe him all that cash, and that's our fault. I mean, I'm a big Dave Gettleman fan, but I'll probably be the first to say I honestly think the way Nate Solder has been handled has been Dave Gettleman's biggest problem.
Yeah.
The restructure is killing us. We need that money right now, and this is just kind of where the ball falls.
Do you think that he could come in and compete at the right tackle spot? He was a right tackle when he first got to the Patriots, I believe.
I mean, I'm a huge proponent of bringing him in to camp and letting him go. Joe Judge has the history with him, so he knows him. He's played under him in New England, so I think he can come in and challenge that spot. Again, we don't have a right tackle right now, so why not? You know?
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to let him compete with Pert. I don't know what Pert is. We don't have any idea, really. You know, he showed some promise, but he showed some bumps too.
Pert's a big man. He can move some weight. He's a massive frame, but it's just so limited of what we saw from him. And I just don't know that going into the season with an O-line of Andrew Thomas, Lemieux / Hernandez, Gates, Zeitler, and Pert is the way to go. I mean, look, Joe Judge has shown us that he has no problem bringing competition into this roster, so I expect the same thing on this O-line. It's obvious that Joe Judge knows there's a problem on the O-line. We're on our third coach, which, by the way, I think is a great hire. Yeah. Joe Judge connections there. Coached at Alabama under Saban a little bit. Runs a very ground and pound heavy offense down in Louisiana. Actually, a matter of fact, both of the running backs that were playing under him are going to be in the draft this upcoming year. So I think it's the style of football that Joe Judge wants to play. He wants to run the rock. He wants to pound the ball. As much as we want to see Danny sling the ball, this is going to be a run-heavy offense, and it all starts up front with the O-line.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. I know we're in a very pass-happy league right now. Things always kind of trend one way and then kind of trend the other way. I kind of wonder if at some point here in the next 3, 4, or 5 years, if we're going to get back into kind of that ground and pound offense again.
Well, I mean, you look around the league. Yeah, you got the Chiefs, you got the Bucks. Obviously, they like to air it out. The Bucks like to run the ball. The Titans love to run the ball. It's a playoff team. And you know what? We can't ignore the Browns anymore, man. The Browns are a good damn football team, and that ground and pound worked for them all year long. It's a similar situation with Baker that we had with Danny. You know, they both had great rookie seasons. Took a step back their sophomore year, and then we saw Baker take off his third year because he's doing less. They're keeping the ball out of his hands. They're running the ball. They're getting him in play action. You know, I think if we can kind of treat Danny the same way as that, I think we can get the most out of Daniel. The problem is our damn offensive coordinator, but that's a whole nother story. And I know you wanted to talk a little Kitchens today. You know, something I've been really adamant about this offseason was getting a passing game coordinator. But I think that was kind of our passing game coordinator hire yesterday when they promoted Kitchens. Yeah, so it definitely seems like he's going to be a little bit more involved with the pre-planning and definitely in the passing game.
The one game that he was our offensive coordinator, I listened to a lot of other podcasts, and some kind of seemed to think the offense didn't really look different. I thought it did look different. I thought I saw a lot more creativity, a little bit more usage with the tight ends. To me, it looked better, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Colt was playing that game, right? So
Yep.
I think it's kind of hard for some fans to see a difference when your backup quarterback's in. If Danny had played that game, I think we would have seen fans realize that it was a totally different offense.
I thought so too. Yeah, I know it's tough with Colt, but
yeah, I mean, we played fine on the offensive side of the ball versus Cleveland. We lost that game because Baker tore us apart.
Yeah.
Remember, Yadam had a bad game. We were missing Bradbury that game, and Baker went to work. I mean, people hate Baker, but like, I mean, the dude had a good game against us. So from a kitchen standpoint, it's really hard for us to see that until we see Daniel Jones kind of under Kitchen's wing, you know.
Yeah.
Kitchens went back to his normal role when Danny came back and took snaps the next week. So you know, it's no secret that our offense sucks. You know, there's Joe Judge isn't stupid. He knows that there needs to be change there, and it all starts with Jason Garrett and Danny. And look, you got that Danny jersey on right now. I love Danny more than anything. I want Danny to work out more than anything. But I'll tell you right now, man, week 8, Danny's still showing us the same issues he's having. I'm the biggest Danny Jones fan there is, but it might be time to move on. You know, I've always kind of compared Danny to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, year 3, just didn't look the part. He had a really shitty situation with Adam Gase there, but I've always said, you know, if Danny's where Darnold was year 3, it might be time for a change of scenery.
Yeah. 2 things. With the Cleveland offense, they ran a 3 tight end set a lot, and they actually had 3 competent tight ends. I think that's something that we're missing. You know, obviously Ingram, we'll talk about that a little bit more at a different time, or a little bit later in this episode, I should say. But Caden Smith is okay. Levine Toilolo gone. Like I think we need more tight ends, better tight ends.
Yeah, I think they were hoping Toilolo was going to come in and be a little bit more physical. They didn't use him as much. You know, going into this last year when they signed Toilolo, I was under the impression that they were going to send some help to our tackles, which Pat Shurmur never did in the running game. And our running game was better. I mean, you know, Wayne Gallman moved the ball. Jason Garrett, got to give him credit where credit's due. Our running game got better. For sure. You saw old man Alfred Morris out there pounding the rock. I mean,
he looked good too for the most
yeah.
part.
I mean, we haven't been able to run the ball like that in a long time. So if you want to take a positive from 2020, it's definitely the running game. But I would love new tight ends. I'm not an Evan Ingram guy. I like Caden. I think Caden can do what we need Caden to do. He can block. He's 6'5". He's cheap as hell. He can catch the ball. We need more Caden Smiths and less Evan Ingrams.
What do you think Caden Smith's role should be in this offense? Do you think he's a 1? Do you think he's a 2?
I want Caden Smith to be the one entering this year. I know I'm delusional. I know the Giants love Evan Ingram, and I know Evan Ingram's going nowhere. But I want Evan Ingram gone. He's easy cap savings. You get about $6 million cap. And look, dude, we're in penny pincher mode. Like, we got no money, and we need talent now. We're going to have to get creative on the books, and, you know, I know Evan Ingram is a John Mara favorite, and I'm beginning to think that he's now a Joe Judge favorite. But does he have a future here, dude? Are we re-signing him? Because if we're not, it's time to trade him or cut him. Let's be real. I know nobody wants to see him go turn into an all-pro tight end in New England, but I'm over it, dude. I mean, you and I got on to talk about 2016 draft, and Ingram got drafted in 2017, and here we are in 2021, and we're still frustrated with the man. Yeah. I got no ill will towards him. I think he's a really good guy. I know he wins what they call it, media player of the year every year. The media loves him, and the Giants love that kind of stuff. But, you know, I dread the day where we're in the 4th quarter of a playoff game and Evan Ingram's being thrown a pass. I just dread that day, man.
Anytime you throw to him, it's scary.
I mean, hey, man. He led the team in drops, and he really crushed us in some key situations this year, and I'm sick of it. I mean, you can't force it.
Not only the drops, but you look at, I think I remember counting 6 tip passes that turned into interceptions or fumbles or, some type of turnover play. And man, you just can't have that. That kills you.
I think I saw something like 60% of Daniel's interceptions Evan Ingram was involved in.
Yeah.
Look, I want the guy to like turn it around. I know he's got the talent, but like how long have we ever seen a Giant get this many chances?
Mm-hmm.
Between injuries, play on the field, drops. I mean, like, how much longer can this go on? Maybe they just figure they're just going to run his contract out and get out of it. But like, to me, that's just bad cap management, especially right now when we could be using that $6 million against either Leonard Williams or Allen Robinson.
If we look to trade him, what do you think compensation is? I mean, I wouldn't see more than like a 4th or 5th at best.
I think you'd be lucky to get a 3rd and then 4th or 5th. They should have let him go at the deadline, man. But since our division sucks so bad and we are in the playoff race, they didn't want to let him go.
Yep.
And it is what it is. But, we got to get Danny some playmakers, and we got none right now. Our most consistent piece of the offense is Sterling Shepard, and I mean Shep's great and all, but he's a compliment piece.
Mm-hmm. He's a slot guy. I mean, he shouldn't be outside. I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, look, Shep can do it all. He certainly can. The numbers are there that he can do it outside, but we don't necessarily want that. I like to say all the time, don't fucking cut Sterling Shepard because that dude gives 110% every single play. We've literally ruined his career making him like play out of position every other week and then forcing him back into games with head injuries and stuff. I don't care. Shepard can get every single dollar on his contract. The man is a Giant for life.
I agree.
People want to talk about an easy cap savings. You can cut Evan Ingram. We're not cutting Sterling Shepard.
I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Let's talk 2016 a little bit now.
All right. So 2016 draft, Giants had the 10th pick in the first round. I mean, kind of quarterback heavy to start. Goff, Wentz, Bosa went. My kind of pipe dream in this draft was Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if you liked him or not, but I knew it was going to happen, but I would have loved some way for that to end up being drafted by the Giants. Didn't happen.
So, remind me, this is going back a little bit. We had Janoris on the roster already, right?
I think we signed him this season, so yes.
Was this right after DRC was gone?
Yeah.
So this was to replace DRC. So we were lacking a corner here. 2017
is when we had our, pretty good year. So yeah, it was the following year. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, because we made the playoffs. And did we make the playoffs this year? Yeah, we made the playoffs this year. After this draft.
Yep.
So DRC was kind of on his last leg. We were hurting in the secondary. We had Landon. Did we have Landon?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, our secondary was hurt, and we had the pass rush at this time. So, looking back on this, though, man, I know we needed a corner, but it just kills me seeing Jack Conklin go a couple picks before us.
Yep.
And then, Mr. Laramie Tunsil fell because of his bong rip situation. This one hurts, dude, because we could really use a Laramie Tunsil right now. And the Giants sometimes have too much pride to take adversity guys in the first round, even though they took DeAndre Baker. It just kills me that it's 2021. There's OTs in this both the 2016 and the 17 draft that we had in our reach, and we're still looking for an OT.
Yep. So
it hurts.
We took Eli Apple with the 10th pick. What are your thoughts on the pick? I mean, if you were to grade it, what would you give it?
I remember at the time I was real upset. Eli Apple was like a fringe first rounder at the time. I was thinking they were going to go Vernon Hargraves, who ended up being kind of a bust as well.
The next pick too. The next pick too. He went to Tampa right after.
So this is that draft that Chicago ended up jumping us.
Mm-hmm. And took Leonard Floyd.
And I'm pretty sure we were going to take Leonard Floyd.
I agree.
Because that's what the Giants do in the first round. They take the BPA, they take the pass rusher, and he was certainly the BPA at the time. And we got jumped at that last moment, and it seemed like Jerry just panicked and took Eli Apple.
It's like he didn't know what to do. It's like he got jumped and he's like, oh shit, who am I drafting?
I just know that we were all kind of confused, especially because Hargraves went right after it. Granted, they both ended up being busts.
Yeah.
But then you got Taylor Decker. I mean, Taylor Decker's not a stout tackle of any sorts, but he's been a tackle in the NFL for a while now. I mean, we could have taken him too. So,
yep.
Hindsight's always 2020, but we didn't need Eli Apple at that time.
I agree. Some other names.
Our pass rush was there, and when you have a pass rush, you don't necessarily need elite corners, and we already had Janoris out there.
Yep. Some other names that were available: Sheldon Rankins, who's actually a free agent this year; Will Fuller, obviously Taylor Decker, Jalen Smith. I love Jalen Smith coming out of Notre Dame. That was the year that he got injured in the championship game. I don't like him now. I can't stand him. But that was someone I wanted to be a Giant, but I just knew at that pick probably wasn't an option.
Well, he was a reach for them then too. Remember, because he had to sit out that whole year.
Yep.
So they took a risk, and it worked out for them there. I mean, I didn't think the Giants would take that risk, and I don't think anybody was going to take that risk at 34. No. But that worked out pretty good in their favor. But now the flip side is 2021's here, and they're having cap problems, and Jalen Smith's one of those guys that's at the top of their list. Shit, I'd love Jalen Smith to come over to New York.
I would, but I just can't stand his attitude and how he plays the game. I mean, that last Dallas Giants game, like, he's just acting a fool the whole game. I tell you.
That's fair.
It doesn't mean he's not a good player. And I mean, if he came over to the Giants, I would be on board. But
oh yeah.
But
and we we've kind of figured our linebacker situation out since.
Yeah, I agree.
Now I will say in this draft though, man, like another team that shit the bed in this first round, the Washington Redskins. Josh Doxson at 22.
Yep.
And then we were gifted with Shep at 40. So again, Sterling Shepard returns. We got a gem in the second round. He ended up being one of the best receivers from this draft, and he's still making plays for us today.
Yeah.
So I love Shep, man. I got no ill will with Shep. This is probably one of Jerry Reese's better draft picks and one of his last ones on the roster, right?
Yeah. Yep. Shep, I love Shep. I think we can't just have him be the only receiver on this team. He needs help, and we need depth at the receiver position. He does get hurt. He has some injury issues, and we need some players to be able to step in and play. If he's down or he needs some help at tight end, he needs some help up at other places. So I like him a lot. We just need help. We just need more receivers.
What's your thoughts on Darius Slayton since we're talking receivers?
I had high hopes for him. I thought that he could come in and prove to be a number one. He's not, though. He's a 2, and I think that he's someone that can compete to be our number 2 this year, but he needs some competition. He needs someone to show him how to be a receiver on the outside. He needs help.
Yeah, I mean, like Ingram, he was one of our guys that was very heavy in drops this year. Mm-hmm. But people forget Darius is a 5th-round pick for a reason. He had a drop problem in college. We hit in the 5th round on a guy that's able to get on the field and be a starter. But I think we all kind of think of him as something he's not. We hold him to a higher standard because he slots into that wide receiver 1 position. But at the end of the day, he was a 5th-round pick. Mm-hmm. He has his issues. I like Slayton. I think he's a burner. I think him and Daniel have that good connection. My problem with Slayton is when he sees elite corners, he ghosts, and we don't see anything from him. We won't hear from him for the whole afternoon. Granted, he was hurt this last year. He played pretty much half the season hurt. But even prior to being hurt, he's a guy he's just not an alpha receiver. He's not going to take on Marcus Lattimore's and beat them consistently. So he's a nice piece for us. but I like him more as a number 3, to be honest with you. And when I say a 3, not necessarily a slot, but someone who's going to take off the top of the safety and burn you over the top. He's just not our number 1 guy. He's just not. And I think he has a place here, but he's going to have to earn it going forward.
Yep.
We have got to get Danny that number 1 target.
A little off topic, but who do you want to be his number 1 target?
You know, I keep living, dying buying the Dave Gettleman slogan, "No guts, no glory." Man, we got to go for it now. Saquon's on his rookie year. Danny's on his rookie year. It's time for Kevin Abrams and Dave Gettleman to get the books right. And I want Allen Robinson, man. I know it's cliche because he's the top of the market, but I want to go for this now. I'm sick of this building that. I know it's gotten frustrating, but like we have to take advantage of this window before we have to pay Saquon and Danny.
Yep, I agree.
Paying Saquon's a whole nother story. I don't even want to get into that today, but paying Danny is really what it really comes down to. He's the quarterback.
Yep.
We got to take advantage of this now. We got to take advantage of this defense now. Let's go for it, dude. Yeah. I want a Kenny Golladay and I want an Allen Robinson, but I'm going to back up and give you my more realistic approach. I think both those guys are going to end up getting tagged. And I really don't want to overspend on a Chris Godwin, Curtis Samuel. I'm indifferent on Corey Davis.
I know
he's your guy.
Yeah, that's who I want. I mean, I don't
dislike him. He's a big, tall receiver. He's going to go up and get the ball for Danny. My only take back with him is he really didn't show up until A.J. Brown got there. But on the flip side of that, the Titans really just kind of started throwing the ball. Yeah. So I'll take a risk on Corey, but I'm gonna throw this back at you. What are you gonna pay Corey?
I mean, I think he's gonna get less than Allen Robinson. I think he's gonna get less than probably Curtis Samuel. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the contract's gonna look like, but I think he's cheaper than some other options. I think he's cheaper than Kenny Golladay.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole thing with Corey Davis, and I'm sorry, I'm getting a little off track here.
No, you're good. This is good content.
So he had Mariota as his quarterback, and I'm sorry, he's a backup. He's not a starter. Maybe Washington goes and gets him, and he plays for them for a little bit. I don't know, but Corey Davis had, Mariota, who just couldn't get him the ball. Then when Tannehill gets there, they have A.J. Brown, and he kind of comes in and steps up as the number 1. But they're in a run-heavy offense. Even this year, he almost had 1,000 yards. He had 984 yards, as opposed to A.J. Brown, who had 1,075. But then you're also in an offense where Derrick Henry's running for 2,000 yards. So it's like, what are you really asking him to do?
Yep.
And I just think, he's 6'3", he's 26, he's young. That would be someone that I wouldn't mind putting a little bit of money into a 3 or 4 year deal, maybe 3 years, and see what we have, because he's never been in an offense on his own, at least I think, that will focus on getting him the ball.
Well, and essentially, I think Joe Judge wants to kind of mimic the Cleveland and Tennessee offenses too. The Tennessee guys are New England guys, right? They want a ground and pound offense. Mm-hmm. So Corey Davis is used to that kind of offense. He doesn't seem like a guy who's going to need the ball all the time. He demand the ball. Allen Robinson, I'm telling you right now, we're probably not going to get Allen Robinson because Allen Robinson doesn't want to lose anymore. He wants to play with an elite quarterback. As much as I love Danny, you can't really say it's much different than Trubisky right now, really. Let's be real.
Yep.
So I think Allen Robinson is probably far-fetched for us. I think he wants to – I personally think he wants to team up with Watson. And he's a guy that's going to want the ball. You're going to have to give him the ball. Corey Davis, he might be a guy that's okay blocking in the run game.
And he's a good blocker too.
Yeah, he's a good blocker. My thing with Corey is what are we going to pay him? I like to use Sterling Shepard as a perfect example. If Sterling Shepard had hit the open market when he signed his contract, the dude was going to get mad overpaid. Mm-hmm. Sterling's contract is perfect.
Yeah, it's manageable.
I don't want to give Corey more than 13. First of all, we're broke. Second of all, I just don't want to invest a lot in a wide receiver unless it's Allen Robinson. But But I think that, you overpay in free agency every single time. So that's part of the game. Judging back at last year's free agency, everybody wanted Corey Littleton at middle linebacker, and they wanted Deion Jones at cornerback. Well, we went down a tier, and we got two guys that played better than both the first tier guys. So It won't surprise me to see the Giants bargain shopping for guys like Josh Reynolds, a Will Fuller maybe that they can take a 1-year deal on, a Rashard Higgins. But, we got to get this cap situation taken care of before we can do anything. And I really think the Giants' priorities right now are re-signing Leo.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're going to see anything happen until there's a decision on Leo. And if Leo hits the open market, we're probably not getting him back.
What do you think Leo's going to get a year?
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being a delusional Giants fan, but something feels different with this defense. And it all starts with Patrick Graham. Patrick Graham signing that extension feels different to me, man. Mm-hmm. Joe Judge and him have this connection that just feels different than anything that we've had before. It finally feels like these players want to play for this coach. Leo wasn't anyone until Patrick Graham and Coach Chaos got here. So he owes it to them a little bit, right? Let's be real. He owes them a little bit for unlocking his potential. So I don't think it's really far-fetched to see Leo and Dalvin sign for a little bit less to keep this unit together. Mm-hmm. I will say I think Dalvin's the odd man out here because we have pieces that we can move around to replace him.
Yep.
Something feels different to me with this team, man. Maybe I'm delusional, but like this coaching staff and these players, it feels like something's building here. But at the end of the day, money talks, and we know Leo can get that money. Yeah. And teams love to overpay for guys that had a contract year. So I think our biggest competitor right now versus Leo is free agency. Mm-hmm. Got to wrap it up before he hits the market. I mean, I think it's a lost cause if he hits the market. We can't pay him $20 million. We just can't.
And overpaying in free agency is such a bad way to build a team. And that's kind of why we're where we are,
Overpaid a lot of guys, man. And, I know the hot topic here as of lately was JPP because he just won the Super Bowl. And it's just what happens when you have all the contracts on the book and you go through all these management changes and, scheme changes.
At the time.
I know the Bucs run a 3-4 defense, but you can't tell me JPP drops into coverage. It just doesn't happen. No. And he wasn't going to do that in Bettcher's scheme. Mm-hmm. It sucks. It sucks to see guys get traded away for third-round picks and then win Super Bowls and completely light the world on fire. But it's kind of where we're at. That's what happens when things kind of go downhill. And look, it's 2021 and we're just getting out of cap hell. I mean, from JPP, Vernon, Odell, all those bad contracts, contracts will screw you in the long run. There's no joke about that. Just look at Nate Solder's contract.
Still biting us. Yeah. It's going to for at least another year, probably, I think, right?
Yeah. I mean, we owe him that money, man. So
him opting out kind of really hurt the Giants.
That's why I know he has his issues with his child. I know it's all about, health and safety and stuff, but I'm hoping that he cuts us a little bit of slack.
I agree.
Whether that's if he comes back or leaves, and from his comments and his interviews as of lately, it does seem like he feels like he let the team down, and there's no reason for him to feel like that. COVID's COVID. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But let's hope that
he works with us.
Yeah. Let's hope, because that's a big cap hit, man, and it sucks because we're in position to spend. We're in position to compete, but we can't spend.
They'll work something out. I have faith in that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of cut candidates, man. A lot of cut candidates. There's a lot of ways for them to clean up some space here. They just gotta be smart about it.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a little bit here.
Yep.
We'll get back into the draft. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
So obviously you went Eli Apple, we went Sterling Shepard in the first 2 picks. Some other options that I had written down for Sterling Shepard. Not that I would change the pick, but Derrick Henry went not too far after that. Michael Thomas went not too far after that. Deion Jones, the linebacker for Atlanta, went a couple picks later too. Just some other options. But I'm completely fine with the Sterling Shepard pick. He's a stud for us. We need him.
Let's see. And our good friend James Bradbury went about 22 picks later.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even see that one on there. So
no, I mean, we needed a wide receiver at the time too. And Shep came in and played real damn good as a rookie too, man. Yep. I mean, Shep's been a solid receiver. He's not gonna put up all pro numbers, but the man's consistent, and he's been. I have my story with Golden Tate, but Sterling Shepard and Tate have been phenomenal for Danny's development in 2019. 2020 is a different story, different coach, but I love Shep, dude. I do not want Shep going anywhere. I don't think he's going to go anywhere, but
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Someone else I would have liked possibly. It's funny. Austin Johnson, he's on our team too. He went 3 picks later. Miles Jack was obviously a hot name here too. He went a couple picks before us.
Second, I think, right?
Yeah, he went 36. Shep went 40.
Yeah. Miles Jack,
I think Shep was the right pick there. I really do.
I do too. Third round.
That doesn't happen very much with us.
No, it does not. Third round, we took Darian Thompson, safety out of Boise State, who played for Dallas. I mean, he's really done nothing for us.
He had that short period of time where we thought that he was going to be the guy at safety, and then he got hurt.
And then next year it was like, all right, let's get back into it, and he just never did anything.
Yeah, him and Landon just didn't work out together as a pairing.
Do you think it was a fit? Like, he just didn't fit in this defense that we had at the time with Spagnuolo, or?
I think, wasn't it the injuries that really kind of took it away from him?
That's what I thought too.
He had the opportunity. He just got hurt, and then we just moved on. We probably shouldn't have moved on from him either, man.
I think it was more of like cleaning house and just getting out with the old and in with the new.
Again, we did change schemes too, so I don't know how Darian Thompson fits into a 3-4. I'm not 100% sure with that, but
I mean, I got to think he'd fit better than Antoine Bethea, but
yeah, well, yeah. But here's the thing, man. Like, every time we change coaches, fans forget that all loyalty goes out the window.
Agreed.
So it doesn't matter if he played for the previous guy. It really doesn't. It's the same thing with Joe Judge. We're going to see it this offseason too. Joe gave everybody a chance last year, and some people aren't going to make the cut this year. That's just the nature of the business. At the end of the day, this is business. It is funny, though, because the more I go down this draft list from 2016, the more I realize how many players we have on our roster. Kyle Fackrell.
Yep.
He went 88. So everything comes full circle, right?
Yep.
That's another guy. I need Kyle Fackrell back next year.
I agree 100%. He needs to come back, even if it's just like a rotation role to provide some depth. I don't care, but he needs to come back.
BJ Goodson, another guy, man, like a guy that got all the opportunity in the world with us, and injuries kept him off the field. He goes to Green Bay, plays okay, and now he's a starting linebacker in Cleveland. I mean, I'm not sweating it over him. He's a thumping linebacker, straight downhill guy, but it's not like we didn't give these guys chances, right?
Him too. Changing to like a 3-4 or whatever Betcher was running, he didn't fit at that point, I think. But yep. I loved the pick at the time. I was super, super happy about that.
Damn, I didn't realize Blake Martinez was in this draft too.
Yep.
Blake went after Fackrell.
Yep.
Cool story. Fackrell and Blake came in the league together. They're really good friends. They were roommates as rookies. Obviously played for PG in Green Bay, and now they're back in New York together. So I'm hoping that Blake connection helps us in free agency.
I hope so too.
Because Fackrell came to New York because of Blake. People don't really realize that because he's not a big name, but he came with Blake. They're attached at the hip. So I'm hoping that helps us on the free agency market this year. I mean, Fackrell outplayed his contract in my opinion.
I agree, and I think I'm thinking Judge is building something here. So I think players are going to be more open to coming to play with the Giants. Whereas in the past, with Shermer and a lot of Gallivan hate, it seemed like maybe that was affecting it a little bit. But now it feels like we're building something. I think players are going to want to come play with Judge, with Patrick Graham, who's a genius.
Yep.
This is his dream job, he said, too. So I really hope that he sticks with the Giants for a while.
Yeah. Again, that extension, man, I mean, strange, but it's there's something deep building here, man. There really is. Like, this is the first time I feel like we have a very dynamic coaching staff. I mean, dude, just with Jeremy Pruitt getting fired at Tennessee, Joe Judge hired him within like an hour, and he was going to go to the Jets, and Joe Judge said, absolutely not, you're coming to work for me, because he knew him.
Do we know what his role is going to be yet? I haven't heard that.
From what I'm reading, he's going to be like a defensive assistant. I'm guessing he's probably going to take over the edge for Blima. But I also was reading that the inside linebackers coach might move out to the edge. So, again, Joe Judge doesn't need these guys to have titles. He just wants them to be teachers.
Right.
It goes a long way, man. And, like, Judge is all over this coaching thing. Like, I've never seen a coach from both a waiver wire and coach's waiver wire make so many moves. Like, I don't know about you, but talking about player waiver wire, did you notice that, like, this whole year it felt like Joe had his hands all over every waiver wire?
I did feel like that, yeah.
We never play the waiver wire.
An interesting thing that I've talked about a little bit before. What are your thoughts on Rj Mcintosh? I know, off topic again. It just seems weird to me that we've protected him on the practice squad a couple of times so that teams can't sign him. I feel like we don't just do that just to do that. So what's going on there? Do you think anything, or just you had to use it?
I really think that is. That's insurance for if we lose Leo, or not Leo, Dalvin.
Yeah.
Because here's what's going to happen: if we re-sign Leo, Dexter's going to move to the middle. And then you're going to have a rotation on the other side of probably a BJ Hill and an Rj Mcintosh. Okay. And honestly, is that bad?
No, I'm fine with it.
I think I'm ready to give BJ Hill that shot if we have to. I guess Dave likes his guys on the line, and something I noticed with it's cool that you bring this up, because I'm gonna tie something else into Joe protecting guys on the waiver wire. Every single week, he protected that punter and kicker, who was a hybrid guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Santoso or something, Ryan Santoso.
Like that.
That's genius, man. You know why he did that? For if Dixon or Gano got COVID, because he knew he could sign Santos to play kicker or punter on whatever happened.
He doesn't miss details. He's got like the most minor detail. He is on top of that shit.
The man is a genius, man. I mean, I hate to compare him to Parcells and Belichick, but you can tell he's cut from that cloth, that Saban cloth as well. The man is not stupid. He's a genius. And at the end of the day, he was a kindergarten teacher first, right? So I think there's something to be said about when he says he wants to hire people that are going to teach.
Yeah.
It's the first time in a long time I felt really good about our coaching staff. That's for sure. The whole thing.
I love Coughlin, but he was kind of up and down. But ever since Coughlin, I haven't really liked anyone on our staff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, me too. Everything else has been kind of like a reach. Mm-hmm. And Joe was a reach too, man. I mean, like, all of us were like, what the hell? Who's Joe Judge? But I thank Bill Belichick for that phone call with John Mara, because John Mara can't make any decisions by himself. We all know that. Yeah. So thank you, Bill Belichick, for sending Joe Judge to us, because it finally feels like we have a vision here, with the exception of Jason Garrett.
I don't like Garrett. It's so tough, though. And I understand the idea of wanting to have some continuity for Daniel Jones and, give Garrett a chance with some weapons. But, man, I just hope he's on a short leash. I hope, if we're, 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, and have one of the worst offenses in the league, I hope we cut bait and you let Kitchens take over, or this offensive line guy, take a shot, something. I just hope he's on a short leash. I really do.
It's the ever-going Mara way, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of us love to talk about how it was a forced hire, and it was. I mean, it really was. It's a Mara hire. Mara is good friends with his father.
Yep.
You know, his father was a big high school coach in the East Rutherford area. He's a legend in the area. Um, Mara drafted Garrett. Um, it's a favor thing, and you know, I really think Garrett wants to be a head coach again. I I personally see Garrett probably taking a head coaching job in the in college ranks eventually, but the Giants don't want to pay Garrett's salary, so they're not going to fire him.
Yeah.
They fire him, they owe him his whole salary. They would prefer someone come in and hire him away, or just run his contract out. I don't know how long his contract is, but
I'm not sure.
you know,
I mean, to your point on that, I think they're still paying Pat Shermer, and they might still be paying McAdoo.
I'm pretty sure they both had 5-year deals.
Yeah, I
One might
think
have been
so.
4, one was 5. So yes, you know,
So to your point right there, they don't want to pay another coach.
you know, I think the coaching there's a whole different bank account for the coaching staff, and I don't think that's public information. So we have no idea like what they're looking at as far as how much money they have on the coaching side of things. So
Right.
I mean, people do forget this is a business. It's easier to just say like fire Garrett, but you fire Garrett, his contract's guaranteed. So
Yeah,
that's money out of John Mara's pocket.
Yep.
They would prefer someone come in and hire him away, but you know, this is what we got, dude. This is what we got, and you know, just like Daniel, Jason's got to be better this year.
Yep.
It sucks, but can't bitch about it because it's not going away, right?
You know, I still think we showed some fight, some sparks at the end of the year. You know, it showed maybe there's some reason for being optimistic. I mean, we get Saquon back, we get some weapons, and just gotta hope.
Yeah,
Gotta hope
and you know what? You look back at Garrett's days in Dallas, always had an alpha receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Dez Bryant, he made Miles Austin. You know, they had then he had Amari Cooper at the end. So he's always had that number one guy for his quarterback to throw to. And what I saw at the beginning of this year was he was trying to make his number one guy Evan Ingram. And it just wasn't working for us.
Backfired.
You can't make – he was trying to do what he did with Jason Witten with Evan Ingram. It's not the same player.
Nope.
You got a better off chance of making Caden Smith a Jason Witten than an Evan Ingram. And we saw that kind of go away after the first 5 weeks. You know, the ball was being force-fed to Ingram, and then Danny started spreading it a little bit more on the second half of the year. Yeah. But all in all, you know, I got no problem with the ground and pound offense that Jason's established here. We got to get the ball vertical. Yep. And hopefully Saquon will help that.
I would think
nobody is scared of Wayne Gallman.
No.
You want to talk about him a little bit?
Yeah, Gallman's gone, I think. Yeah, let's talk about
him. Yeah, I mean, I love Wayne Gallman. I liked that draft pick actually at the time because we didn't have an identity at running back. He's come in and done everything we've kind of asked of him, but let's not forget he was like one of the last guys to make the roster, and the only reason he made the roster was because he went off in that scrimmage. Mm-hmm. Thank God he did because we needed him. But at the end of the day, Gallman's not a great compliment for Saquon. They kind of play the same. I mean, I love Saquon, but the man is a power back. He plays like a finesse back, and that's fine. If that's how he's going to play, then we need a thumper back. Mm-hmm. And I want to bring back Alfred Morris, man. I really do. Cheap. He knows the system. He's smart. He's a better compliment than Gallman. Now, Gallman on the free agent side, you know, at first I thought he was going to get paid, but I'm not seeing a lot of running back interest out there. So I'm really wondering what he's going to get out there.
I think
he's willing to sign a 1-year deal. I mean, maybe he could be back, but my thing with him is like Gallman doesn't get on the field when Saquon's around. Mm-hmm. So what's the point? You know, we need the money right now. I'd rather just draft a guy late and replace Gallman. Thank you for what you did this year, Gallman. I'm glad. And hopefully that pays off in his contract negotiations, but I just don't see a place here for him. I need a power back, man. I need a power back.
Well, I wanted to draft AJ Dillon last year, and I can't believe he went so early. I was thinking, 4th, 5th round, and he went in the 2nd to Green Bay.
Well, and I think another perfect example of AJ Dillon in this year's draft is Trey Sermon out of Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think he's going to fall to the 4th, 5th round. It's going to be the same story as it was with AJ Dillon. He's probably going to go like 3rd round. That injury might help, but I don't know that we'll have our hands on him either. We're going to probably be looking at a 6th, 7th round back probably.
Yeah, I agree.
We got Deion Lewis can go too. He can get the hell out.
Yeah, I can't stand him, man.
And we continue to give him the ball in the kick game.
Yep.
I don't get it.
Nope, me either.
I mean, I tell Mage and Tino on our pod all the time, like, you could really make an argument, like, for almost everyone on this offense to be replaceable.
Yeah.
It's sad, but with the exception of, like, you could even say Danny's replaceable. With the exception of Danny, Saquon, and Shepard, I mean, and maybe Gates and Thomas, who are you handing a job to?
No one.
I think that everybody probably on this offensive unit could use some competition.
Yeah, I hope we stick with Gates at center. I mean, if we move him and they have a plan for it, that's fine. But I think keep him at center, let him develop some more and be a top 10 center in this league.
I agree. I would like to keep him there, but it's nice to know that he can play the right guard and right tackle position as well. Yeah. I worry about that right tackle position, man. Like I really do. People forget that the blind side's important, but the right side's in this day and age is just as important. Teams are literally putting their JJ Watts or TJ Watts on the right tackles for a reason. And Danny has his pocket presence issue, so we gotta take care of our damn quarterback, man. And it's so fucking frustrating because people want to blame this all on Daniel, but it's still a work in progress on that O-line.
That's been an issue since
Eli.
I don't know, 2014, 2013, I feel like. Eric Flowers obviously didn't work out. Solder didn't work out. I mean,
we're looking at these drafts, man, and I mean,
Will Beatty didn't work out. I mean, just.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to is we rode with Flowers for too long too, and shame on the Giants for not trying him out at guard because obviously we saw as dumb as Flowers is and as bad as he was, somebody was able to get in his ear and let him play guard. He got paid in Miami too. He was shit this year, whatever. Still got paid, and he played good for the Browns. Right, Browns. Who did he play? So. Skins.
Yeah, I knew he played with the Redskins, but I wasn't
sure if he stayed there. I was thinking what's that coach's name? Guy I wanted to O-line coach. Who was the Redskins? He was the Redskins interim coach, the O-line guru from Dallas that Jason Garrett hates.
Callahan.
Yeah, Callahan. He was able to get in Eric Flowers' ear, so as much as I hated Eric Flowers, we might have not set him up to be successful.
He wasn't a worker though.
Yeah.
He was a bad draft pick. There's no way around it.
Oh yeah, but you gotta work with what you got, and we didn't.
Yeah, true.
And it screwed the end of Eli's career, and we're kind of back to deja vu with Daniel Jones. Like Daniel's getting what Eli got at the end of his career.
Yep.
And this team's not going to go anywhere until we get that O-line fixed.
Hopefully we're close. I think we are, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think Thomas is due for a breakout year this year.
Thomas, I'm happy about Thomas, man.
Yeah,
he kind of struggled to start, but he's going to be a fixture on this line for years, I think.
Yeah. But again, we can't just let these guys go either. Something the Giants have struggled with for years is O-line depth. And again, we had no injuries last year, and our O-line was still bad. Imagine it with injuries. So I'm not really in the business of just letting Solder and Kevin Zeitler just go because contract standpoint, we need those guys. We do. As bad as Solder is, we probably gonna have to plug him at right tackle.
Yeah. Do you think we can rework Zeitler's contract? Do you think he would?
Yeah, we would have to push the money down the line.
Yeah.
He would have to sign an extension, which I'm fine with, dude. Like, we need that consistency. I'd rather have Zeitler, Lemieux, and Hernandez than just Lemieux and Hernandez for cheaper purposes.
Right. I agree.
You got to protect Danny, man. You got to protect Danny. And you know what? It's just like Will Hernandez on the left side. You put a good right tackle next to Kevin Zeitler, you're going to see better play from Kevin Zeitler, right? Fleming was terrible, horrible. He was literally there because he was a Garrett guy and a Colombo guy. He won't be back.
Can't imagine.
No. But we got to be creative, man. We got no money.
There'll be ways to work it around, I think. We'll probably talk about that a little bit later.
You want to jump to 2017?
Well, one other thing I wanted to point about with the 2016 draft, 5th round, we took Paul Perkins. I'm not saying that the Giants would have done this, but 16 picks later, Tyreek Hill went.
The whole league's laughing at that one.
Yep. I mean, I know there were some character stuff. I think he was kicked off the team or something in college. So there were issues there, but man, Tyreek Hill in the 5th round. Actually, it's 6th round, I think, at that point. That's a miss. It's something a lot of people probably wish they did something different there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we could definitely use his services right now. Rashard Higgins went in the 5th, too. Yeah. I'm a big Rashard Higgins guy. The guy steps in for Odell and Jarvis when either one of them go down in Cleveland, and he puts up numbers. I'd like to take a shot on him as a cheap free agent's contract.
I'd be fine with it.
And then the draft kind of just goes to shit after.
Yeah, after that,
it's Jarrell Adams in the 6th.
The JPP of tight ends.
Yeah. I'm not losing sleep over any of these guys after the 6th round. It is funny. Here's another guy that's still on our roster, Kyle Murphy.
OT. Is that him?
Yeah.
Is that the same guy? Okay.
Yep.
I thought it was funny looking at the 2016 and the 2017 Mr. Irrelevance, and I mean neither of them played at all.
Callan Reed, never heard of him.
Yep. But then just my point with that is we get Tay Crowder, and I think he's going to be a fixture on this defense for a couple of years. I think he can play for us.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know how big you are with PFF. I do like to look at PFF for certain things, but they actually had Tay as our lowest graded player on the entire team.
Really? I didn't know that.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it had to do with when he got hurt because the snap counts went down. But I mean, yeah, dude, he filled in perfectly. I mean, we found our fit there. We were talking about BJ Goodson in the linebacker position earlier. I mean, I think we're set with Blake and him there. Finally have linebackers. And then you have your depth in Mayo. Mayo could be another guy who's a cut casualty.
Yeah, could be.
But we could probably still use another inside linebacker. I don't think Devonte Downs is anybody that we want to get excited about. But again, we've been looking for 2 starters there for a long time. We finally got a rookie and a superstar. So I think we're good there. From a defensive standpoint, it's really just about locking up our guys. And, I'm not really sweating the cornerback 2 position as much as a lot of people are. I don't know about you, Sam Beal's out there, but, something we've seen with the Patriots way in the last couple of years is, they like to build on the outside, but you're not going to see big stars on the outside of the defense.
Yeah.
We got our stars in Logan. We got our star in Bradbury. I'm not going to be shocked if we don't really address that second cornerback 2 position in free agency. I think they're going to do a plug and play there.
I'm not opposed to seeing what Julian Love has there too. I thought he played pretty good towards the end of the year there.
Julian Love's an interesting one, man. I was a firm believer that he was a safety only.
I thought
he was too slow to be a corner, but then you're right. He showed up at the end of the year. So we have no room at safety for him. So I guess that's where he's kind of got to go. And if he can take that part, that'd be awesome. I believe, and I don't know if it's this year or next year, Logan Ryan's been talking about recruiting players. Adoree Jackson for the Tennessee Titans, his contract's coming up soon.
I
I'm
think next
hoping that
year.
Logan Ryan goes out and gives him a call. I
Yeah,
think it's next year he's a free
I
agent.
think so too. Yep.
But that might be another spot for us to fill. But I don't think they're going to spend on CB2, man. I really don't. They went out and traded for Yadam last year. I see us going a similar route. You can cover up and disguise weaknesses with good safety play and good slot play.
And pressure. If we can get some more pressure this year, then I think that CB2 position isn't as important.
Yeah. What are you feeling about the edge position? I mean, I don't like these free agents.
I don't either.
And I don't like these draft picks. Like you said earlier, I want Fack back, but I don't think Patrick Graham has a problem with having a committee there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a running back committee. Like the Patriots are kind of known to have a committee edge rushers. They never really had like a stud.
And they never pay them either.
It makes sense that they're gonna invest in the safeties and the line and kind of have committees at the cornerback and edge positions, which is kind of ass backwards to the rest of the league. But I don't really hate the thought of it.
The problem with free agency too is, you have Shaq Barrett, you have Bud Dupree,
Jadon,
Clowney, but you're going to overpay for any of those. You're going to pay a lot for any of those guys right now.
Yeah, we went through it last year, right, with Yannick. Everybody wanted Yannick. We saw how he turned out. He wanted $20 million last year, and he's not going to even get close to that on the market this year. I just give me a fat girl and give me some rooks, man. But I will say, we got fucked at the edge position at the end of the year. Carter Coughlin, great guy. Cam Brown, great guy. Good rookies, but they're just depth guys at the end of the day. I think Cam Brown can be a guy that can step up and be an edge rusher. Carter Coughlin's probably going to be a situational guy, but when we had those two kind of starting at the end of the year, we definitely saw a drop off in our pass rush.
I agree.
Fackrell's injury hurt us. A lot of people hated that signing because of the dollar amount, but he did what was asked. I think he had a couple turnovers and a couple TDs.
Yeah,
he had at least one TD
against Dallas too, I think.
Yeah, and there's a couple strips. So I'd love to have him back in the rotation, but we're definitely going to have to invest there somehow, some way. I just don't know how they're going to do that.
I'm wondering if it's like a second or third round pick or something like that. There is talent out there. It's just finding it.
Yeah. Hey. This staff is different than anything we've had, so I trust them. It's kind of like with Xavier McKinney last year. They had no plans of drafting him, 0. But he was just sitting there on their board in the second round, and he was way too high to pass on. So I think that's the approach we're going to see with this team. We're going to get back to taking BPAs.
I think scouting is going to be so important this year too, with weird pro days and the combine not really a thing. Yep. So the teams that have the superior scouting departments and judge someone who's going to do their homework, I think this draft is something that we can really benefit with. And even having those later picks, maybe, with trading people, we're gonna get some good people.
Yeah. What's next? 2017?
Yep. Obviously, you're gonna start off with Evan Ingram at pick 23.
Fuck. This is the one that puts a hole in my chest every time I think about it, man.
Who did you want at that spot?
I wanted Ryan Ramsey.
Check it.
I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
Or honestly, I would have liked TJ Watt.
Yep.
Those are my guys.
TJ Watt, Tre'Davious White was there, Ryan Ramczyk, Jabril Peppers got taken a couple picks later. Not that I at the time really wanted him, but I don't know if I'm OJ Howard, honestly, too, over Evan Ingram.
This was kind of that era when the hybrid tight end was coming. You had it. I think Aaron Hernandez was still around or just left, but he kind of set that standard for the hybrid tight end, right? And then teams started getting obsessed with it. And then Jerry Reese loves skill positions. And I'm not going to lie to you, dude. When we drafted Evan Ingram, I wasn't disappointed. I was confused, but I knew it was kind of a sexy pick, and I liked his highlights, and I thought he was going to be a force to add with Odell and Eli and Shep. So our offense was looking like it was in a pretty good state from a skill position standpoint. But looking back, man, and like fast forward to 2021, we fucking need OTs and edge rushers. And there you got TJ Watt, who's arguably the best edge rusher in the league right now, and Ryan Ramczyk, who's been a stalwart for the Saints since he's been drafted. So it hurts. It hurts to look back on this stuff, but hindsight's always 2020. You can say the same shit about Saquon. You know, you can't harp on it. It is what it is.
Yep.
Jerry Reese was a bad drafter.
Yeah. TJ Watt to me would have been the guy that, man, that's who I would have taken.
Yeah, I mean, Watt was the guy. I know a lot of people had him tied to us. But then again, you know, I got to give credit where credit's due when we get to round 2.
True. Yeah. Dalvin Tomlinson.
I mean, he's the hottest topic of discussion right now amongst Giants fans besides Leo. He's one of the guys that did work out from the start. He's given all he can, right? Mm-hmm. He's switched schemes. He's went through coaching changes. And now he's playing like one of the best DTs in the league. He's ready for a payday. And here we are. Like, so it worked out with him. We're at the end of the contract. We're ready to give him another one, hopefully. And, you know, he, like Shep, he's been one of the most consistent players on this team for the last couple of years, right? He does a lot that people don't see. He takes on a lot of the double teams. He helped Leo tremendously this year. Yep. Back then, when he was being kind of more of a nose tackle, him and Snacks were a force in the middle. You know, it allowed for JPP and OV to work on the edges. So he's played a lot of different roles. He's worn a lot of different hats. It's a damn shame that we don't have the money to just give it to him right now. But, you know, I was happy with that pick. I know we liked getting the trenches back then. But if we're going to talk about guys that I might have liked to see instead of him, I was a big Zach Cunningham guy. Linebacker out of Vanderbilt. He still leads the Texans in tackles every year till this day. Man plays all over the field, but I'm not sweating that pick at all. You know, Tomlinson's been everything we can ask for. Yeah.
What about the next pick? Davis Webb?
The future?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I was a Davis Webb guy. At the time we drafted him, I had no idea. But obviously, as years wore on, you know, sitting under Eli, I was really, really hoping that he was going to be the next one. I think he threw for like 40 TDs at California. He was a gunslinging quarterback. He kind of reminded me of the way Eli played, just really like to air it out. But didn't work out, man. Nope. Never eaten so much crow in my life. I think a lot of us Giants fans just really wanted that transition from Eli to the new guy to be really easy, and that was an easy way for us to look at it. Yeah. Just didn't work out, dude.
He was being talked about too in like early second round. I had even heard people talking about him in the first round, and I'm like, no, that's not going to happen.
But I think a lot of it was him playing at California, being a tall quarterback, the Jared Goff comparison, the Aaron Rodgers comparison, gunslinging offense, put up a lot of points, played against a lot of shitty defenses. And, you know, I think a lot of us Giants fans really hoped that him sitting under Eli was really helpful for him. But, I mean, the dude's been on, the Jets. Now he's on the Bills, I believe. Yeah. It just hasn't worked out for him, and it was just another draft pick down the drain from the Jerry Reese era. Yep. But, you know, Kittleman did it too with Lauletta, and it didn't work out either. So quarterbacks are a tricky one, man. Yeah. You know, fast forward to now, I'm wondering if we draft another one.
It wouldn't shock me, you know, in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, somewhere around there. Developmental guy. I mean, I still think even if we did that, we need to look at the backup quarterback position. You know, are you settled with Colt McCoy if we brought him back, or do you want someone different?
I think Colt's intangibles off the field are what's most important about him. Mm-hmm. If you watch his interview when we first signed, his main goal in life is to be a coach. So I think he was really brought in to help Daniel more than anything. I don't ever think they really thought he was going to play. And even Patrick Graham will tell you, Colt McCoy helped him out in practices this season, calling out plays on the defense, where the Mike linebacker's coming, where the blitz is coming from, So it really seems like honestly, it wouldn't shock me if Colt's back and eventually becomes part of the staff.
I'd be cool with that.
He can be the offensive coordinator for all I care.
The only thing I worry about is if, we get into week 8, week 9, and Daniel Jones just isn't working out. And who's our other option at that point? If we're putting Colt McCoy in, you might as well just keep Daniel Jones in. But at some point this year, I hope we don't get into the situation where Daniel Jones is proving to not be it and we're stuck with nothing.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of signing a Ryan Fitz. I think he's probably going to get a starting gig somewhere, or at least an opportunity to get a starting gig.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring in a vet like that. The problem is they're a dime a dozen now. Josh McCown's gone, so he's not available. Mm-hmm. Fitz is an option. They're probably going to bring Colt back and draft a rookie, man. Honestly, that's what I see them doing.
I'd be good with that.
I wouldn't really hate breinging in a Brissett or someone either.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would like the Giants to bring in someone to push Danny. Danny needs it. Danny needs all the competition that he can get. I just don't know what those options are and what our cap looks like for that. It's kind of like the running back position. You might be better off just going the draft route, bring in a vet and a rookie.
Yeah, it's tough because, if you do invest in a backup quarterback, that's money. They're not necessarily cheap if you're going a Ryan Fitzpatrick or even like a Mariota if he became available. So that's where Colt makes sense, but it's do you want to rely on him if you need him, if Daniel Jones gets hurt, if he's not playing good?
Yeah, I mean, the Danny Jones thing is the Danny Jones thing. We don't know how that's going to play out. As fans, I think it's probably a good idea to say mid-season he needs to show us something, right? Yep. But the team's going to stick with him for the whole year. Unless we're in some crazy scenario where we have a good record, but he's playing horrible. I mean, Danny's going to probably play every single game unless he's hurt. Yep. So it's really going to be going into next year is what we're going to have to really be planning on if Danny's not turning the corner.
Yeah.
I would love for them to go bring in someone to really push him and maybe actually take his spot if he's not playing good this year. They're committed to Daniel Jones, man.
Yeah.
They really are. And at the end of the day, Mary makes all decisions and Mary handpicked Danny.
Yeah.
And Joe Judge wouldn't have taken this job without knowing that that's part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
But he's also going to make decisions for this team that's best for them. So if Danny's not showing us, you could see someone starting for the Giants next year.
Yeah, this is a very pivotal season for Daniel Jones. It's kind of a make or break. If he shows just better play, I think we'll be fine. But a lot's going to depend on how he does.
Personally, for me, this is year 2 for Danny. Last year was everything that could go wrong for Danny went wrong. O-line, constant change. Saquon gone, no wide receivers, and a new offense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just not fair to the kid. Hey, I give Sam Darnold a bunch of shit for being in New York and playing like shit for the Jets, but he's been dealt a shitty hand. Yeah. And you know what? Kind of dealing Danny a shitty hand now too if we don't get him any help. So pivotal year for him. Maybe I'm just protecting him because I'm a Danny fan, but
me too, don't worry.
I can't look at last year. I can't look at last year and judge him, man. Just so many other things. You look at the Super Bowl. What won the Super Bowl? The line of scrimmage.
Defense.
Not Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
Not Tom Brady. The line of scrimmage. You saw what can happen to an elite quarterback when he doesn't have his linemen. We saw that all year long with Danny, dude.
Yep.
He was running for his life, the most pressured quarterback in the league. And he doesn't have the best pocket awareness. So you tie that in with a bad kind of O-line or bad O-line play, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
So he has his work cut out for him, but I think the Giants have their work cut out for him to make him successful.
To your point, too, you throw in COVID, no preseason. I mean, there's just so many factors that really worked against not only Daniel Jones, but the Giants in general, having a brand new coach, new offense, new defense. So even to that, it just everything was against us. Everything was against him.
I mean, you look back on this year, man, how many games could we have won? How many games did we lose in the fourth quarter? I had a running tally at the beginning of the year, or the last 3 years. I stopped doing it once we started winning some games, but I think it was we blew 18 games in the fourth quarter of the last 3 years.
Oof.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we could have easily been 8-8 last year, in my mind.
The year before, too.
9-7.
I mean, how many games did Danny throw for 4 TDs and we were in it in the fourth quarter and we just lost?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's a team game. It's not just the quarterback. It's New York, so the quarterback's going to get all the shit. But, I know we made progress last year, but we are still very far, in my opinion, on the offensive side of the ball. Our defense can play as long as we lock them up, but we got a lot of work to put in this offseason on the
Well, it's really tough for the defense when your offense goes 3 and out. I mean, you can have a great defense, but if you're on the field 90% of the time, what do you expect?
That's why we lose those games in the fourth quarter, because the defense was gassed.
Exactly.
So I just hopefully that ball will start to drop for us in those fourth quarters.
Yeah, hopefully. One other pick I want to talk about with the 2017 draft was the Wayne Gallman pick. Obviously, I loved it at the time. I'm happy that we had him. I think he's probably gone. I don't see him coming back. Like you said earlier, I don't really think he's a good fit for what we need him to be. But the other side is 6 picks later, George Kittle gets drafted.
Yeah, I see that. Again, hindsight's always 20/20.
But could you
we weren't
imagine
going to take a tight end because we just took Ingram.
But could you imagine, though, if we took Ingram and then, fourth round, it wouldn't have been a bad thing if we took another tight end.
Yeah. It would have been a little different. Or if we had taken Ryan Ramczyk the year before and then taken a tight end in the third round this year.
Yep.
But back to Wayne Gallman a little bit. I personally hope the Giants kind of take this similar route this year. Fourth round running back would be probably ideal for us. We can talk about the elephant in the room with Saquon, but if he doesn't show up this year, I don't know that we're going to back up the truck. So like Danny, we need a backup plan there at running back. So it's probably not out of the realm that we could take a running back again.
Do you think no matter what, we pick up his 5th-year option for Saquon?
Yeah, I do.
Same.
Again,
no point not to, really.
Like Ingram, like Danny, he's a Mara favorite. He's a team favorite. He sells jerseys. He was brought here for a reason to sell jerseys, in my opinion. Do I love Saquon? Absolutely. Do I think he was the right pick? Probably not. I'll never admit that anywhere else but here. But again, this is what we have. I don't know what people expect. If they think that we're not going to pay him, got a rude awakening for you. We're probably going to pay him. We might get a bargain. Probably not going to get a bargain. He's a Rock Nation guy. They're going to get their money.
2 things I think with drafting Saquon. I think they were laying the groundwork for trading Odell Beckham. I think they wanted a different star in New York. They wanted someone they could rely on that isn't having all these off the field stuff. I think that was a big part of Saquon, the ability to move on from Odell, to have someone else take over the star kind of position of the offense and make Odell expendable, in that scenario, I would say.
I would agree with that. I mean, they knew Eli was out the door. Something I felt like Odell and Saquon were getting real tight.
Yeah.
And the Giants didn't like that at all. And they wanted him as far away from possible from Odell. If that's true or not, I don't know. That's just kind of what I saw. But they knew that Saquon was being drafted to be the cornerstone of this franchise.
Yep.
Offense sells in this league. Offense puts butts in the seats in this league. John Mara's not an idiot. At the end of the day, this is a business. How many jerseys did Saquon Barkley sell? You know, after he ran for that 65-yard touchdown in his debut, I mean, like, dude, like that was exactly what John Mara wanted to happen.
Yep.
So does business come into play sometimes? Absolutely. Should we have probably done 2018 a little different? Sure. I wanted Baker, knew we weren't going to get him, wanted Josh Allen after Saquon. You know, I don't know. I still, if we had taken Josh Allen, great. Whatever. I'm not sure if things would be really different right now. He's still going to have an O-line. And the right thing in that trade was probably to trade down.
That's what trade down Quentin Nelson. I mean, there's so many options in that draft.
It's kind of how I'm feeling about this year.
Yeah.
Really, really kind of, you know, we only have 6 draft picks. So we need bodies, man. Like I know 11 sounds great and all, but I wouldn't mind moving back a couple spots and picking up a 3rd-round pick or something.
Yeah. I think it's depending on who's there. You know, if you have Jamar Chase or, you know, someone like that there, then I think you take it. But if they're not there and your choice
you want to wrap up and we can talk about that a little bit?
Well, let's talk about free agency. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Giants free agencies or free agents. I mean, Leonard Williams, I think we both think we're going to bring him back, right?
Yep.
Delvin Tomlinson, I'd love to bring back, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
It's going to have to be a discount. It's going to have to be team friendly. And again, call me delusional Murph, but I'm hoping in the back of my head there's something else breeding with this defense. You know, I'm hoping that Patrick Graham extension is a reflection on what the players do in free agency.
Yeah.
You know, he could have freaking been the coach of the Jets.
Yeah.
Been making twice the salary and have his own team. So, I mean, like, you can think about all these things.
Sure.
You know, they all come into play. These are humans at the end of the day, right?
Yep. So, okay, we already talked about Colt McCoy. I wouldn't be opposed to bringing him back. What about like Nate Ebner? Do you think he's someone that could come back and kind of fill that special teams role again?
I don't want him back at that price. You know, but again, you know, there's another guy on the roster named Cody Core who's a similar player. He's a special teams gunner, so it's going to be one or the other with them. Core's an easy cut casualty for me. I said this to someone the other day, like, we don't need to be spending $2 million on special teamers when our head coach is a special teams coach. He can go find that. That's his specialty. That's up to him and T-Mac to go. I don't ever want to see Nate Ebner on the field on defense playing safety on 4th down or 3rd down ever again. I know it was just a thing of depth at the time, but like we just don't. I don't want that. We have enough safeties. So I think Ebner's probably gone. If he is back, it's probably another team friendly because he's a Joe Judge guy as well.
Yep. Some veterans I kind of hope we bring back. I'd like to see Austin Johnson back. I'd love to see Jabal Sheard back. Kind of assuming like Casey Kreuter will be back, but who knows? What are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, you know, we're going to have to fill out the roster a little bit. If you don't have those guys back, you're going to see probably similar guys of that nature. I expect a lot of one-year deals around free agency period this year with the cap shrinking because guys know they're not going to get the money they could normally get. And I see the Giants signing a lot of one-year deals again, too, with our cap situation. So those would be perfect situations. It might not be those guys, but they'll be similar players off the free agents pool.
Yeah.
You know, something I want to ask you is like an easy cap casualty lately is Golden Tate. We're already lacking bodies at the wide receiver position. Golden Tate's making a lot of money. Do we cut Golden Tate? Do we bring him back at a lower cost? Where are you sitting with that? Because obviously, like, he took a step back last year.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that there's no Danny success in 2019 without a Golden Tate. I really think he was a really good asset to Danny's development in 2019. Obviously, that changed last year. Where do we go with the Golden Tate?
I think he's gone.
Yeah.
You know, I think we need to kind of overhaul the offensive line, or sorry, not the offensive line. We need to overhaul the wide receivers, that whole position. You know, I think I wouldn't be shocked to see us sign a free agent and draft a wide receiver pretty high in the draft.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see him back at a lower price, but he's an easy cap makeup. So,
I agree.
and if he wants to stay, you could maybe see like a re-sign. But my whole thing with free agency into the draft is like, first of all, it's going to affect it. Obviously, we know that. But like, I was talking to someone yesterday. I know Curtis Samuel's floating around out there, and like, I am not okay entering the draft with a wide receiver core of Slayton, Shepard, Ingram, and either a Samuel, a Godwin, um, Corey Davis. I'm on the verge, but let's say we sign a Chris Godwin or a Curtis Samuel in free agency. How confident are you going into the draft with that?
Not at all. I'll still feel like our hands forced to draft a wide receiver high.
It's unsettling. Mm-hmm. And then the flip side of that is like, you can't guarantee anything in the draft. You have no idea what's going to be there at 11, and you have no idea if you'll get your hands on a wide receiver.
Yep. What are your thoughts on Devonte Smith? I mean, I like him. I just don't want him for the Giants.
Not a fan. Not a fan at all. He's actually my 4th ranked wide receiver in this draft.
Wow. Okay.
I'm a Jamar Chase 1. I like Rashad Bateman at 2, man. That's my guy. He scored 19 touchdowns last year. The Giants have a high presence of scouting in Minnesota. We took 2 dudes from there last year. I like Jalen Waddle 3rd. People forget Jalen Waddle was the Heisman Trophy favorite until he went down.
He's my number 2.
Yeah, he's a guy that can spread the field. Again, like, we're going to need a big body still if we're taking a Waddle. Yep. And I like, if we were to wait, I like Rondell Moore. I know he's not what we need right now, but the dude's a genetic freak of nature.
Yep. 40-inch vertical. I
know he's only played 1 year. Say that again?
I think he had a 40-inch vertical.
Yeah, he had 42-inch vertical, and he's only 5'10".
5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, 5. And he runs like a 4.340, 4.35 or something.
Yeah.
I think he's actually like a really good fit for a Packers offense, being a slot receiver. But if we were to sign a Corey Davis, I think he'd be a nice compliment for us in the draft. And then if we were to wait, I like that kid Terrence Marshall out of LSU. He's a big 6'3" body receiver. Mm. I don't care what we do in the draft or free agency, but we need a red zone target.
Yep.
I'm done relying on Darius Slayton.
I think we need to get another tight end too. I mean, I'm not really on the Kyle Pitts train right now. I mean, I think he's a talent, but I just don't want him.
I don't want Kyle Pitts, man.
Yeah.
I think he ends up sliding a little bit. I think what's going to happen with him is he's also a genetic freak of nature, but he's a tight end. People are comparing him to Plaxico because the wingspan and everything and the catch radius. But, I mean, I'm not taking him at 11, dude. Just screams Evan Ingram over again. Like, I know he's a freak. I know he'd be good for Daniel, but I don't know that is what this offense needs right now.
I mean,
if Kyle Pitts ran a 4, let's say he ran a 4.5 flat and had a little bit more of a route tree, then I'd feel a little bit more confident from him. But he's a tight end, dude. He's a tight end. This whole wide receiver notion shit, he's not a wide receiver, in my opinion.
To me, taking him wouldn't help our offense as much as taking a wide receiver. We already have Evan Ingram. I know there's issues there. He needs to work on his hands. But if we take a wide receiver, we still have Evan Ingram, and we can at least try to work with that.
Yeah.
Whereas if we take Kyle Pitts, it's like you're not going to run Kyle Pitts and Evan Ingram out there.
The only way I'm going to be cool with Kyle Pitts is if we're getting an Allen Robinson or a Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, at that point, it makes sense. But I don't want to play this game at tight end anymore, man. I'd rather just ride with Caden Smith.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Any other free agent people that you want to talk about? Anyone that you kind of hope we go after, other than the wide receivers we've already talked about?
I brought up Josh Reynolds, Rashad Higgins, and I think I had someone else. But the Giants are going to be bargain shoppers, man. They're going to be looking for 1-year deals. So if they're not going to play that top of the market, I really don't think they're going to be giving a Curtis Samuel and Chris Godwin that high-end market money. We still got holes to fill. I mean, we're going to need to probably sign an offensive lineman. We could afford to sign an offensive tackle. again, it's all going to come down to what we do with Leo and Dalvin. You might see us take another shot on a no-name corner. We still need some depth there. I don't know what they're going to do with Sam Beal. I'm done with Sam Beal. I don't care what they do with him. I know a lot of people still want to give him a shot, but you know what, dude? COVID's COVID, whatever, dude. But he was given literally on a platter a starting job this year and opted out. Whatever your thoughts are on COVID, that's cool. But like, dude, like another guy that's had endless chances. How many more can we give him?
You got to take advantage of those opportunities too. And I get it's COVID and that's tough, but man, you're right. He was the number 2 corner. He had that spot.
Yeah,
unlocked.
I mean, he would have been on the field a lot this year, and we missed that, just the body itself. I don't see us signing any corners. We don't need, or any safeties. We don't need any safeties. They'll probably sign another defensive lineman because they love to do that. I'd like to see, if they do go the free agent route at running back, I'd like to bring in a Mark Ingram on a vet man.
Yes, I agree.
I think he'd be a good compliment to Saquon. Again, I need Saquon to play like the finesse dynamic back that he is. Mm-hmm. He doesn't play like a power back ever. He avoids contact. He likes to run it outside. He doesn't like to go it up the middle. I need Saquon to be that complete guy, man. I need Saquon to be like our Zeke. And if he's not going to play like that, we're going to need someone who's a compliment. Mm-hmm. And I think a Mark Ingram would be solid. I'd like to bring back Alfred Morris. But other than that, man, like, I don't think we're going to be big spenders at all. We don't have much money. We got to get our own guys under wrap. I think we're in a good place on defense. We just got to get Danny some playmakers.
Yep. I'd like to see us bring back Okwara. He's a free agent. He had a pretty good year with Detroit. I can't imagine he's going to be too expensive, so I think he might be kind of, a good fit in that like bargain.
Yeah, and his brother's in this draft as well. He's another target for me. He's an edge rusher as well. So.
Yep. Cool, man.
Anything to help the edge and the wide receiver position. I don't want to spend on these Barretts, Jadons, top of the market guys.
Yeah.
I really hate comparing us to the Patriots, but I don't mind being discount spenders. It worked out for us last year. Why not have it again?
We just got to keep improving our drafting. If we can have another good, successful draft this year, it's going to help us build a depth where we're not going to have to go out there and spend big money on, free agents all the time. And maybe a guy that's on our team that is a backup will get, signed by someone else for a big contract. It would be nice to be that way rather than than what we've been,
So what are you taking at 11? Who's your guy?
I mean, I'd love Chase. I just don't think he's going to be there.
Yeah.
I'd go probably Waddle. I'm not opposed to Bateman. I just think Bateman, you could probably trade back a little bit and still get him in the first. But that's a dangerous game too.
That's my thought.
Cornerback 2, I'm not opposed to that idea. But then it's like, who else? I don't really want. I don't want Micah Parsons.
Nightmares again.
Yeah, I don't want Micah Parsons. I think he's someone that a lot of stuff has gotten pushed under the rug for him. I don't think he's a fit for what we want.
So my one thing with Parsons, my argument to that is Coach Chaos should know.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
If those things did go on, he'll let our staff know that we need to stay away from it. I like Parsons a lot, man. I don't think Parsons is going to be there at 11. Parsons is like literally Cam Brown, but like 3 notches up. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's a genetic freak. I really think he could end up being just an edge rusher. But the rumors are out there. Maybe he'll slide because of it. I'm not against taking him if we're going to make him an edge rusher. Again, Coach Chaos will know more than anyone else if those rumors are true and if what his character is like. I don't have a favorite at 11, dude. I want BPA.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are listening to this probably isn't going to like this, but I don't care if they take an OT there.
I wouldn't be opposed to it either, honestly.
Sean Slater.
We need to do something with this offensive line. We're not set yet. It's not set.
Keep building it, man.
Yep.
You got to win in the trenches before you can win anywhere else. And fans will rage if we take an OT there, but I don't care. If that's the BPA.
Yeah.
if he's the best player available, that's what I'm taking. Again, like it's the same thing with Parsons. If you can get over those rumors and if they're true or not, like I don't think you can pass on him at 11.
That's a good point too with Coach Chaos. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
He's got to have firsthand knowledge. So if he's okay with it, that actually kind of opens up the possibilities to me of drafting him.
Yeah, there's actually 3 defensive linemen from Penn State coming out this year that all have questions. Parsons with that. There's Jason Owosu, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He's a genetic freak as well. He never really came into his form at Penn State, wasn't able to get the sacks, but he's got the size and the speed. Another guy that Coach Chaos is familiar with. He's like a second-round fringe pick right now. Some have him going first round. And then the D tackle, I'm not sure his name. He won this defensive MVP at the Senior Bowl.
I'm not positive.
He's got a long. It's a different name. But again, Coach Chaos is going to have the insight on all these guys, and that's what I love about Joe Judge bringing these college guys in, dude. Like even if they didn't play for them in college, they probably played against them or they scouted them. Right. So, you got Jeremy Pruitt, you got Derek Dooley, you got Kevin Shear at the linebackers position. All these guys should be familiar with a lot of different football players in this world.
Yeah.
The Joe Judge effect, man. So I trust this staff. I really do. Maybe I'm delusional, but I finally feel like we have a staff in place that puts their players in the best place to succeed.
And I haven't felt like that. I mean, I want to give Coughlin credit as much as the next guy, but I don't even know if I felt like that with Coughlin.
No. I mean, I was younger back then, and I didn't pay attention as much, like as in depth as I am now of a fan. Coughlin. Love Coughlin. I mean, Jerry Reese doesn't have any rings without Tom Coughlin and Eli. I'll never give Jerry Reese credit for those rings. I don't care. Those are Eli and Coughlin's rings. His drafts were horrible. But, yeah, I mean, we're dynamic, dude. Like, I literally feel like I like every single coach besides Jason Garrett. Yeah. And Jason Garrett has some help around him that I hope can help with Shuplinski and Kitchens in his ear. Hopefully that can push this offense along. But, from a defensive standpoint, I love our coaching staff, dude. Like the college piece goes far. I've always been like really against hiring coaches that are college head coaches like Lincoln Riley's that light the world on fire from an offensive standpoint. But when you get these positional guys in here that were head coaches but are now positional coaches in the NFL, like Brett Bielema last year, that goes a long way, dude. Yeah, when you have a linebackers coach who used to be a college head coach, I mean, he's been there before. He's seen adversity. He's been fired. He's scouted players. He's played against a lot of different players. So I think that really goes a long way with what we got going in the coaching staff, and it really helps us in the draft.
Plus, we have such a young team. So these young college coaches, I mean, it's nothing but good for what Joe Judge wants to do here.
Yep.
These guys still need to be taught, and that's one thing Judge keeps preaching. He wants to bring coaches in that can teach
and cross-train.
Love the staff. Love the staff.
Yeah, I mean, if we have anything to be excited about, it's definitely Joe Judge. We got that CEO we've been waiting for a long time. What they do at the GM position going forward, I don't know. A lot of people think that Joe has a lot more control than he does. Joe and Dave have a good partnership, man. I got a buddy who's got some friends that work for the Giants, and the vibe is they like each other, man. They work well together, and there's no qualms there, and there's no force. There's no force of Mara's hand or anything, and you can definitely see Joe had his blueprints all over that draft last year. So he has a say, but he doesn't have all the say. Dave is definitely still in this thing.
Yeah, I don't think he has final say, but he has a very big hand in everything that happens with the team.
And the Giants have always given their coaches say. I mean, look at Betcher and Shermer. They brought their guys. It didn't work out, but, like, sometimes it's a blessing to give your coaches the say, and sometimes it's a curse. And right now, I think it's a blessing for us because we have the right coaches.
So, anything else you want to get to?
Oh, man, just get Danny some damn weapons.
You
I just
mentioned
don't think we can do anything going forward with this team without weapons on this offense.
a little not Giant related here, but you mentioned something about Carson Wentz. What was your question?
Oh, yeah. So we can wrap up with this. All the quarterback carousel on the market right now, it's wild, dude. Like, I think this is going to be the craziest offseason we've seen in a long time in the NFL. Lots of quarterbacks are in need of service right now. So Wentz is the hot topic. I know the Colts and the Bears have been involved in trade discussions, and the Eagles are just not budging because they think they can get more than they want for Wentz. If you were to take a quarterback right now, contracts aside, history aside, compensation aside, would you take Wentz or Darnold?
Ooh. I still think I would take Wentz.
That's the answer I've been getting from a lot of people. And I understand it because you've seen his ceiling.
Yep.
You've seen his success. You've seen what he can be. My problem is that's been so long. And my flip side of the argument is he had an elite O-line most of his career. He had a good defense most of his career. They complain about wide receiver talent in Philly a lot, but it's not as bad as a lot of other teams. And he's had 2 elite tight ends in Ertz and Goddard.
True.
Sam Darnold's gotten fucked in New York. And it's kind of like what's happening with Danny, but I'll leave Danny out of this one. Sam hasn't had any wide receivers. He had Adam Gase calling his plays. He plays for the Jets, who don't make good decisions. Hasn't had a running back.
Yeah.
Huh?
He has nothing around him at all either.
He had celebrity crybaby Le'Veon in his backfield. They did invest in the O-line a little bit last year. It got a little better. Sam just hasn't had the tools, man. And I think Sam's a guy that you give him a change of scenery and the right coach, he might make it happen. I would love to see Darnold and Sam Fran, man. I really think he would sling it in a Kyle Shanahan offense. Yeah. He's a guy that just needs a change of scenery, in my opinion. And right now, that's who I'd be trading for, not Wentz. I think Wentz is done, dude. I saw him throw some balls this year, and I don't think it's the knee that wrecked him. I think it's the back. He's got that Romo effect.
Could be.
It's a shame. But let's just hope the Eagles don't get shit for him.
I heard 2 twos is the best offer they've had so far.
Yeah, and I heard they turned it down.
Yep.
That's an overpay, in my opinion.
For the Jets, though, do you think they go quarterback at 2?
I think the Jets should go get Deshaun if they can.
Yeah.
They got the money. They got the cap room. They could go get Deshaun and Allen Robinson and a running back. I wouldn't take a quarterback at 2, no, because
I wouldn't either.
It's the Darnold effect again. Like, you got to start building it. Honestly, I would trade if I was the Jets. Mm-hmm. No. I rephrase that. I'm going to take Penei Sewell if I'm the Jets.
Okay.
For sure. That's definitely my
What would you do then? Slide Becton over to right tackle?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Becton's really a run blocking tackle. I know he got a lot of praise last year, but he's really a run blocking tackle. That's what he was mean at Louisville. His first initial punch is what made him his money. He's a mauler in the run game, but he's also had that injury bug a little bit already. He's actually from where I live now, and I've been familiar with him for a while. He's a mean man, but like I still think Andrew Thomas is the more dynamic.
I agree.
Move him to right tackle again. Right tackle is still important, or put Penei there. But I'm not giving up on Darnold, dude. And if I'm giving up on Darnold, I'm trading for Watson. I'm not taking Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Well, then what about this? What about at 2 taking Jamar Chase?
I think they're going to take the flack that we took for Barkley. I would still go sign Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean, just thinking with a Giants cap on, I'm going to build my trenches, and then I'm going to pay for my receivers.
Yeah.
The Jets need it all, so they could probably afford to trade back a little bit. They have so much money, dude. That's my thing. Is like, why draft a receiver when you could sign any receiver on the market?
They have another first-round pick too, I believe. They have 2 first-round picks.
I think they do. Yeah.
Jamal Adams trade.
Yeah, from the
later,
Adams trade,
but
you're right.
yeah.
So they have the capital to like go get Watson. I don't
Yeah.
think the Texans want to trade Watson.
No, they don't.
I'm not. I just, if I'm the Jets, I wouldn't give up on Darnold yet. They got Matt LaFleur's little brother there. He's been working with Shanahan for a while, so you might see a similar Shanahan type offense. Jets could turn it around fast. I hope they don't, but they got no defense. They got a ways to go.
They do.
They're gonna have the Jets are a team that should go spend money, man. They really should. They got the cap. They got the draft capital. I'm not moving on from Darnold if I'm them. I'm giving him one more year and seeing if he can do anything under a new coach. But at the same time, he's the type of guy that might just need a new change of scenery.
Yeah. Well, maybe Salah, however you pronounce it, will provide him with that change of scenery.
Yeah. I hope not. I want to be the team in New York, even though there's not really one right now. But
Buffalo.
True. But no, the Jets are pretty far. Their Jets are way more far than us. At least we got a defense to show for.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, going back to the draft, dude, that's every single team in that top 10 is like fluid on what they could do, which is why I hate talking Giants draft right now, because free agency is going to change the entire course of it. You know, you got Miami sitting at 3. If I'm Miami, I'm taking a tackle, but everybody's got them taking Devonte Smith at 3 or Jamar Chase. So, I mean, they got another first round pick later in the round. They could get a Rashad Bateman. So, Detroit, you know, they taking a quarterback, they taking a receiver, they taking BPA. So,
a lot of moving pieces.
Right, we're going to have no idea what's going to happen with the Giants draft picks for a while. We got to figure out what happens in free agency first. And as much as our Giants fans want to go spend in free agency, I think it's going to be pretty boring free agency for us, unfortunately.
Corey Davis. Just give me Corey Davis and I'll be happy.
If we have a boring free agency, that means we locked up Leo.
True.
You're hoping Logan Ryan's recruiting Corey Davis.
Yep.
But yeah, brother. No, this is good content. You know, I know there's not much going on right now, but I always love talking Giants football.
Yeah, same.
You know, I'd love to, like we talked about, I'd love to kind of come back on and talk after free agency and then talk after the draft and see kind of how these talks line up.
Yep.
They always change.
Yep.
And we're always either more mad or more happy after the draft. So, you know, we got a lot of excitement brewing around the Giants right now. Again, we're in good hands.
We are.
We might not be in good hands cap-wise, but we have a good leader of this team right now. And I think that's the most important part.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, brother. Anytime. And look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, let's plan on it. Okay.
All right, my man.
All right. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, dude.